So we're here in the new studio, and a camera I picked up right a few weeks before Christmas. I saw it pop up on Marketplace, and it's a uh, camera that I've been wanting to buy for quite some time, and that's the Panasonic GH5 that you saw in the intro there. Um, GH5, I've just recently talked about the GH2s that I used to use and still own one of them, and how much I like that camera and that form factor. And the GH5 is like kind of taking that whole vibe of the GH2 and taking it right up to like a professional grade uh, cinema camera, but that is extremely inexpensive on the used market. So I picked mine up for 400 Canadian dollars, which is like less than 300 US dollars. Mine has a broken HDMI port, so it takes it out of commission in terms of external monitoring via the HDMI or video capturing in like this type of studio scenario. But it still can capture internally a 10-bit image, and it is yeah, quite a quite an awesome piece of equipment. As you can see here on this setup, we have um, the let's go to this other view here so we can have a better look at it. And basically, it's a quite a bit larger camera than the GH2, but it packs a lot more features, including internal IBIS and some really great. Let me just bring it to the next pose here so that we can have a better look at it. It has a lot of really great tools on board, histogram, waveforms. Fantastic camera. And I want to use it to kind of replace the FX30 that I sold recently, which I don't regret selling the FX30 because I paid about 2,100 because it was on sale when I bought it, and I ended up being able to sell it for 2,000. So I spent 100 to own it, and it was a really great camera, but it was uninspiring. It wasn't the camera did everything quite well, and it was technically a very good camera. But I'm hoping the GH5 coming in at quite a bit substantially less, a fifth the price. It has the app so that I can control it by the app, and that's the thing I loved about the FX30. And then I also like about the Komodo, the red Komodo. But yeah, it's I think it's going to do pretty much everything that the FX30 did. It's a different image, obviously, but it's a great image, and it's a micro four thirds. So I have a ton of micro four thirds lenses, and pretty much everything adapts to micro four thirds. And I've got adapters for everything, tons of speed boosters and all that type of thing. So it's kind of nice to have a full arsenal of lenses that you can put on a really great little cinema body. And I'm not really hung up on sensor size like a lot of people. A lot of people love the big full frame VistaVision idea. And I get it. That's a really cool look too, right? Like ultra wide. Really cool ability to get longer lensing too on the portraiture when you have a bigger sensor like that. But on the other hand, if you really want to capture a lot of depth of field, which I know most people are trying to go for, or well, I don't think most people are. I think there's a common perception that the cinematic look is a shallow depth of field, but a shallow depth of field is not even really necessary if you frame your shots correctly. And when you're doing cinema, everything is planned and lit, and your backgrounds are selected carefully. So you only really needed shallow depth of field if you were trying to lose the background. But if you want the background to be a character in your presentation, your film, or whatever it is, if you want it to be a backdrop to the life that's occurring in front of the lens, you don't want to blur it out. You want to have some fidelity, but it might be slightly. I mean, obviously, you're using like the cinematic focal length for Super 35 was always like the f2.8. So they'd use super speeds, but then they would stop them down to f2.8 because at f2.8 they'd be sharp, but still have a little bit of that dreamy out of focus areas. So, yeah, you don't really need ultra shallow depth of field in order to get a cinematic look, in my personal opinion. And if you look at all the great films of the past, now you can easily blow out your background just by getting really close to your subject and then having like a fairly long lens, but close up with your subject, and it'll blow out the background anyways. So you can always use different techniques that work even on smaller chips and sensor sizes than the Micro Four Thirds. That's one of the reasons why I love the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera OG, because it's a Super 16 size sensor, and it's a really wicked medium to record on. I don't want to get rid of my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera OG, partially because it's the only Super 16 size sensor that I mean, who would ever want another one? It's such a fantastic sensor and a great package. I just worry that one day my Blackmagic's going to die on me. I have a backup body just for like parts, but and the backup body's in mint condition, but I think the circuit board's got a problem. But I digress. The GH5 is a fantastic addition to the fleet, and I think I'm going to use it quite a bit. Today, with the jib shot here, we'll go back to the jib just to add it over there. You can see that I'm using the Edelkrone jib there, and I've got the DJI Pocket 3 on the head plus, so I've got a couple extra degrees of freedom because I've got the gimbal that's on the Pocket 3 as well as the head plus, so that kind of smooth things out a little bit. It's a good little setup because it'll also track the object. So yeah, that's a nice little setup there. And this is the first, well, I did one video before introducing the studio and talking about, what I was doing with it. And actually, I took it a step further because as I was saying in my previous episode, the first studio edition, I have these three. There's one back there as well. I can show that one on this camera. Back there's one as well. There's three FS700s, and they all have the RAW codec, but we're not using that. We're just going straight into the ATEM Mini. But what I love about it is that we can use Picture Profile 7, which is the S-Log, and by using the S-Log 2 on all three of them, we can bring it through and then just use a LUT on all three of them, so we can apply a LUT in real time. And this LUT that we've got right now is the Vision LUT, the Kodak Vision. It's one of the Phantom LUTs. I bought the set of Phantom LUTs. I bought the set that was for the FS7 because I've heard that it's the same chip as the FS700. I don't know if that's true or not, but I believe it's got the same chip, but just a different software behind the chip. Anyways, it seems to work pretty good. It colors the S-Log2 that comes out of the FS700 colors well with the LUTs for the FS7. So that's the GH5, introducing the GH5. I'm looking forward to using it in the arsenal. I have more content coming up in the studio. I'm going to be doing more of these regular studio bits and looking at some of the cameras, getting some shooting too of all these different cameras that we have, using equipment that gets the job done and just takes the skill of the operator to take it to that next level. That's it for this time. We'll see you again on the next one. Thanks for stopping by.